White pawn marches to e4. Black pawn marches to c6. White knight marches to f3. Black pawn marches to d5. White knight marches to c3. Black bishop marches to g4. White pawn marches to h3. Black bishop captures knight at f3. White queen captures bishop at f3. Black pawn marches to e6. White pawn marches to g3. Black knight marches to d7. White bishop marches to g2. Black knight marches to f6. White queen retreats to e2. Black pawn captures pawn at e4. White knight captures pawn at e4. Black bishop marches to e7. White kingside castling. Black kingside castling. White knight retreats to c3. Black knight marches to b6. White rook moves sideways to d1. Black knight marches to d5. White knight retreats to b1. Black pawn marches to b5. White pawn marches to d3. Black queen marches to b6. White pawn marches to c4. Black knight retreats to c7. White bishop marches to e3. Black queen moves sideways to a6. White pawn marches to b3. Black rook moves sideways to d8. White knight marches to c3. Black pawn marches to c5. White pawn captures pawn at b5. Black knight captures pawn at b5. White pawn marches to d4. Black knight retreats to c7. White pawn captures pawn at c5. Black queen captures queen at e2. White knight captures queen at e2. Black knight marches to d5. White bishop marches to d4. Black knight marches to b5. White rook moves sideways to c1. Black knight marches to b4. White pawn marches to a4. Black knight captures bishop at d4. White knight captures knight at d4. Black rook moves sideways to c8. White pawn marches to c6. Black pawn marches to a6. White pawn marches to c7. Black knight marches to a2. White rook marches to c4. Black bishop marches to d6. White knight captures pawn at e6. Black pawn captures knight at e6. White rook captures bishop at d6. Black resigns and white wins the game.